to thank everyone for coming tonight. My name is Jannette. Oh my goodness, I've broken the remote. So my name is Jannette Rho. I'm a dietitian. I am currently the nutrition education, okay, it works, and cooking program coordinator for Near North Health Services. We do classes around the city year-round for adults, youth, as well as families. If you received a flyer out front, that's a flyer for our upcoming classes through winter for the next 3 months. Okay. So I am very excited to, oh my gosh, to be here tonight to share information with you all on eating for health, and hopefully you get some tips in how to do so. Okay. Feel free to ask questions along the way. I just ask you to raise your hand, and we do have a lot of information to cover, so we might move along and just kind of see how the pace goes. Okay. So tonight we're going to cover a number of topics. First, we're going to talk about mastering our food groups. We'll move into timing, talking about portions. We'll learn how to decipher, discuss what's in our food that we are eating, what we're buying. Move into practicing mindfulness, and then we'll finish off with a food demo. We have guest chef Regina Dillard here. She's out there in the back. So in order to master our food groups, we need to know what they are, right? So this here is the healthy eating plate. It's from Harvard. Has anyone seen this before? Does anyone, or does this remind anyone of maybe another plate they might have seen? Yeah. My plate. A little bit smaller. Okay, yeah. So that's a different guide, and that is another guide that's out there. The USDA really, has the My Plate version. Sizes are pretty comparable, I think, for grains and protein. And that just depends kind of on your personal goals, obviously, and what exactly those are, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later. But yeah, I find this one to be a little more of a clear representation of the foods we should focus on. So instead of just kind of giving us the food groups, it kind of helps us see some of those healthier choices we might want to think about. So you mentioned portion, or the portion of protein on there. What else do you notice about this plate? Yeah?
There's no cake on there.
There's no cake on there. No, there are no cakes on there. So cakes are a discretionary choice. It could fit into some of these food groups if you worked at it, right? But really, you see half your plate there, fruits and vegetables. Vegetables getting more attention in terms of size. And then the other half, pretty in between, thinking about whole grains and healthy proteins. They add in healthy oils, and then also include water and oils together. Yeah?
Is it still 8 glasses of a day for a person?
That's like a general rule of thumb. Yeah, so if you talk about fluid requirements, I mean, a lot of things come into factor, including your activity, your size, weight, but 8 cups is like, you know, a general rule of thumb to use. Let's see. Does anyone want to take a guess of why we need to eat from all food groups? Why should we care? Why should we care about this? Yeah.
So you know, vitamins and minerals.
Yeah. So they all provide us with different types of nutrition, right? And in order to get all the nutrients we need, those include nutrients we need in big amounts, like carbohydrates, proteins, fats, and nutrients we need in small amounts, like vitamins, minerals, all those other little compounds that keep us healthy. It's important to get a little bit from all the different food groups. So we mentioned that half our plate is fruit and vegetables. Let me just get a show of hands from who thinks they actually accomplish that every day. Yay! Yay! It's easier for some, not as easy for others. But we want to try to have half that plate fruits and vegetables. And we especially want to try to include more fruits and vegetables of varying colors. So I like to just say, try to eat the rainbow. Because fruits and vegetables, they kind of show off their nutrition with their colors, right? So you have red and orange, you've got dark purples, you've got green, dark green. Those are all those certain colors because of this nutrients that they contain. So we're talking about getting all the nutrients we need, trying to vary up our fruits and vegetables, make sure we get a little bit of all those special nutrients that vegetables and fruits contain. I also wanted to mention doing food first for nutrition. So, sometimes, often I'll hear, why do I need fruits and vegetables? I don't like them, and I can just take a multivitamin, right? So, food first is important because there are so many of these little compounds that we're just starting to understand, and starting to understand how they work together. So that when you get them in a pill, they don't necessarily work the same way as when you get it from foods, right? So we know about certain antioxidants, certain herbal compounds, so we can try to extract them, pump them into a pill. When you eat it from a food, all of a sudden you have thousands and thousands of that compounds, other friends that help each of them work better together. So thinking about food first, making half your plate fruits and vegetables is really important. So how do we eat more fruits and vegetables? I have a few tips up there, like including them as meals, snacks, trying new recipes, looking at new recipes. Does anyone want to share something that may work for them that they tried to increase that fruit and vegetable intake? Yeah.
When you go to the grocery store, just kind of pick out some things on the weekend, and then you just like throw it in and stir fry every day almost, and then you get different vegetables.
A good fry. Yeah, stir fry is a great way to use a lot of different types of things in one dish. So it's really good at that. Maybe crock pot dishes, also the same thing. Yeah.
I do a lot of snacking with dips. So like for example, this hummus and veggies, I do that at work all the time. And also like yogurts, like a Greek plain yogurt with strawberries cut up or pineapple or something. So I try to mix the dip and mix then vary the fruits and vegetables. So that's a helpful thing for me.
Definitely. It sounds delicious. Yeah.
One thing I try to do on the weekends, kind of got out of the habit now, but I'll try to do all my vegetable and fruit prep on the weekend, so that when the week gets busy, you work during the week, and it's just then ready to go.
Yeah, super easy to make convenient for yourself, for sure. Yes.
I was going to say, just about the same thing. I do a lot of food prep, and I also I make a lot of soups, so I'm kind of like whatever's in my fridge, I write a bunch of vitamins and I start chopping and just creating soups.
Yeah, soups are a great place to recommend as well. Yeah.
Does it make sense what time of day to consume these foods because of glucose? Somebody thinks that it's equal to sugar and it's not good to consume like after 4 p.m. for example. So can I eat foods after 4 p.m. before, I don't know, 8 a.m. or 8 p.m. sorry, before going to sleep? Is it okay or no? Because of glucose?
That's a really good question. So we'll talk about timing in general, but we do want to. So if we're talking about things like high in sugar, if we're eating the right portions and eating the right amount of the day, and balancing it out with other things that might have a little more protein and fat to slow that absorption, then it's probably okay. So if you look at the Mediterranean diet, they recommend fruits as their dessert every day. And that obviously is going to be a lot healthier in the long run than having something like cake as a dessert, more often. So, also I do want to just mention, diet in general is so individualized. It's something where, where one person might be more sensitive to things like sugar and have more difficulty controlling their blood sugars. May find that after 4, I don't eat fruit. But someone who doesn't have as many issues might not have a problem with fruit. It might be a like 3 servings of fruit a day. So just listening to your body and we'll go into mindfulness. I hope that helps. So those are all really good ideas and ways to increase it. So these are the USDA recommendations that are out. And for fruits and vegetables recommendations, treat them like a minimum. Okay? So we want to do at least 2.5, I say just 3.5 or 3 cup equivalents a day. Fruits, you want to do 2. And if you're varying them throughout the week with different colors of fruits and vegetables, by the end of the week, we should come pretty close to what all those little numbers are. So without getting scientific, get half your plate full of different ones throughout the week. Good job. Who here has heard of 5 a day before? Yeah, five times a day. So 5 a day, that's the minimum. But again, you see 3 servings, 2 servings, 30 go to your time. So what does that look like? And this is in your toolkit. I know the image is really small. But generally, and this kind of goes through a lot of different types of fruits and vegetables, but generally, if you have a fresh, raw fruit or vegetable, it's gonna, 1 cup of that will equal a 1 cup serving. So 1 cup equivalent, as the recipe calls it. If it's a leafy green, like spinach, it's going to be double. So 1 cup equivalent, you actually need to have 2 cups of a leafy vegetable. A dry vegetable or fruit, like raisins, we're going to do a little portion activity. It's going to be about half. So if you're looking for a 1 cup equivalent serving of fruit, half cup of raisins is going to be that requirement. Because if you think about it, the raisin has been dried, all the water removed, and it's really condensed grapes, right? What about organic? So often get asked this question, and I'm sure we all wonder, is it worth it? Is it worth it? Do we need it? How important is it? Has anybody heard of the Dirty Dozen before? Yeah. So, great organization, the Environmental Working Group, has done tons of work to come up with this list for us as consumers to use to help guide our choices. Okay? Certain fruits and vegetables, when grown with conventional methods, retain a lot more pesticides than others, just because how they grow, how much pesticide they need to grow it. The Dirty Dozen are the top 12 fruits and vegetables that contain the most pesticides through conventional farming methods. Clean 15, you don't have to worry about it. So if you're gonna go organic, especially if you happen to eat, let's say spinach. Say I eat spinach every day, maybe twice a day. Then maybe, yeah, organic is a good option for me in terms of, that vegetable. I do have a general rule of thumb though. So first, just eat more fruits and vegetables. And then second, go local whenever that's available. So especially in the summertime when a lot more things are real close to you, those are fresher and retain more nutrients in general. And then third, opt for organic using a Dirty Dozen as a guide. Again, especially for those things you eat a lot of. I included also in your toolkit a little pocket guide for the Dirty Dozen. Any questions?
Yeah, so most of the things on the Clean 15 have a skin, so I know that that's a good rule of thumb. If it has a skin, the organic avocado is that much more expensive. It's okay to buy the regular avocado, same with bananas, but then there's cauliflower and corn and peas and frozen peas.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just wondering, I know all of these lists, but I'm just wondering why they don't have, even cauliflower.
Well, I'm not a master farmer or gardener by any means. Unfortunately. But I do the way certain plants grow and how we eat them obviously does play a role. But if something like peas have pods, so that probably helps protect them. Cauliflower also grows. They have a big
That's true.
wrapper, if you want to call it that. So how
And
they
so is
grow.
corn, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that plays a huge role. Also, I think some plants just attract less bugs, so you need less pesticide to use on it, or they take in less maybe from the soil, you don't get as much from the roots. So it's a variety of things. Always good to learn. If you want to take a master gardener class, I think they have this here. So moving on from fruits and vegetables, which I do push fruits and vegetables a lot. These are also important. We have grains. So grains, we do want to focus, well, let me step back a little. So just like with fruits and vegetables, with all the other food groups, you do want to try to include a variety for the same reason. That way you get a mix of all the additional nutrients that are in them. So with grains, you eat brown rice every day, but maybe switching it up will allow your diet to have some different nutrients you might not otherwise get. Right? We do want to think about whole grains, and the general rule of thumb is at least half the time. And does anybody here know why whole grains are more important? Yeah.
We have nutrients and fiber.
Yeah. I have a little picture here for you. So the grain kernel is made of three main parts. So you have the bran on the outside, where that fiber, a lot of vitamins are. The germ, which is the core, that's where a lot of nutrition is. You've probably heard of wheat germ and how healthy it is for you. You think about like, your grandparents eating it or something. And then we have our middle layer, the endosperm, which is the starchy layer. And that's where a lot of the carbohydrates live. So a whole grain food product will contain all three parts of a grain kernel. When we get a refined grain, it's processed, stripped of the bran and germ, and then all that's left is that starchy inner layer. So when you're comparing a whole grain bread versus a white bread, that's what you're getting versus that. Who here has a favorite whole grain? So I mentioned brown rice. Anyone else regularly including whole grains? Brown rice and quinoa. Quinoa, yeah. Quinoa's a good one. I actually really like whole grain pastas, like brown rice pasta, whole wheat pasta. They have a nuttier taste compared to like the refined ones. I think those are really good and easy swappings as well. Yeah.
What about soba noodles or buckwheat? Is whole grain or no?
So buckwheat can be, just want to check the ingredients and make sure it contains the right buckwheat. As sometimes you have refined buckwheat flour as well. Right? So you want to make sure that's a whole grain. But yeah, technically. Oats. I've recently started eating oats again. That's a good one. Yeah.
Millet?
Millet, yeah. So millet's a great one. It's kind of a smaller kernel that you can use kind of like a smaller form of couscous. Yeah. Farro's a really good one. It's really nutty and really chewy. It just takes a little bit longer to cook. So there's a ton of different grains out there. So a tip you can do to try to include more, just like with any food, when you're at the store, maybe pick up something that you haven't tried before and give it a try. That way you can add a little bit of variety. Moving on to proteins. So by choosing a variety of proteins, we get a lot of different amino acids. And amino acids are the building blocks of proteins. So you can eat chicken every day. But if you have chicken, add a little fish, try some plant-based sources, and you end up getting a wider variety of amino acids for your body to use. And that's going to add just more nutrition to your diet, right? A good goal is to choose leaner animal-based sources, as well as more plant-based sources. So do we have any vegetarians or vegans in the house? Awesome. Awesome, too. Can you name some really good plant-based sources of protein?
Beans.
Beans, yeah.
Tempeh.
Tempeh, yeah.
Tofu.
Tofu, yeah.
How do we eat rice with the beans to make it a complete protein?
So that's a myth that used to exist.
Oh, that's a myth.
Well, so plant-based sources of protein, other than a few sources, actually tofu is complete. The amino acid profile makes it so that doesn't include all the essential ones we need, right? But what now we're finding is that you don't necessarily need to eat them together, as long as you're eating them over a period of time. So vegetarians can get ample protein if by the end of the day you varied up all your food choices. And vegetarians tend to use more variety in general. You will meet all your essential amino acids that way. So it's more over a course of time versus right here at this one meal. So yeah, good question. Trying to include fatty fish at least twice a week as well is important. It does include healthy omega-3 fatty acids. which are really good for heart health and inflammation. So if you are more plant-based, I'm not going to do fatty fish, but you can get those kind of precursors to the omega-3s through other foods like walnuts and flax seeds that have that essential oil. Speaking of healthy fats, we want to choose more plant-based oils over animal-based ones, and that's to reduce saturated fat, trans fat, all those things, and increase our intake of those healthy, unsaturated fats. Something to keep in mind is that if you're not sure, all things that are liquid at room temperature, so if you think of your bottle of olive oil or vegetable oil, it's liquid, right? I wish I had a sample. Versus butter, solid at room temperature, right? And now think of that inside your body, inside your blood vessels, and it kind of gives you a visual of what it's doing in our body. So everyone says saturated fat is bad, but a real clear visual is it's solid at room temp, and that's going to enter my bloodstream by being broken down. That's why like heart clogging issues, heart disease, others, heart conditions. Any questions so far? Cool. Last but not least, fluids. So we often forget about water, and you did mention water, trying to do is 8 cups appropriate. Yeah, I think that's a good gauge to start with. I personally find myself drinking a lot less water in the winter because I'm less thirsty. But of course, we're not supposed to wait until we're thirsty. So I find that, just carrying a water bottle around helps remind me to stay hydrated. And what's important is to choose water as your beverage of choice. So a lot of you might have heard of in the news now, we're finding sugar beverages. Sugar in beverages is really negative to our health. Cutting down on those extra calories from sugar beverages in general, is probably one of the most important things you can do for your health if you do indulge in those. It's amazing how much sugar is in like a frappuccino. It's crazy. I wish I had a Coke. Does anybody struggle drinking water? Yeah. Why so?
I don't know, I'm not thirsty. But I know I'm supposed to drink it, so that's why I said 8 cups. I can never drink 8 cups. I'm lucky I maybe 3 cups. But, when other she kind of forces herself to drink the whole 8 cups. If I drink it anymore, I'm almost like that.
Yeah. Well, do remember also you get water from foods and other things. So if you're drinking a cup of tea here and eat your fruit and vegetables, you're getting a lot of water from those things. Soup for lunch, like it's in there as well. So you can include that in your daily diet. Let's see. Okay. So moving into timing and portion. So by talking about the food groups, we have a better sense of what to eat. But now we can talk about when and how much. So there's a lot of information out there on what best timing is for eating, right? Again, I mentioned before, but the best pattern is what works for you because diet is so individualized. But what I'll do is I'll just go over a few things that we found from studies and what works for what has worked through research. So increased frequency. So you often hear, eat small little meals all throughout the day, right? And that works for some people, but who has time for that? I don't have time for that. It's hard. It's hard to eat 5 to 6 times a day. Plus some people have told me it feels like I'm eating all day, and in fact, to eat fruits and vegetables all day, I'm literally chewing on stuff, right? So it doesn't work for everyone. Results have shown that for weight loss, it's mixed. So yes, it works for some, again, for others it doesn't. The one thing I want to think about though, increase our frequency. It does give us more opportunities to get in foods that are filled with nutrition. Right? So if I eat 2 or 3 times a day, 2 or 3 opportunities to try to get in my 5 servings of fruits and vegetables, which might not be so easy. But if I do spread it out into, let's say, 5 times a day, if I include 1 fruit or vegetable each time, I've met our recommendations, right? So So increasing frequency is not always, doesn't always work for everybody, but we can think of it as a way to increase our opportunity to get that nutrition we need. It also has been shown to help with a lot of health-related factors. So especially if you're managing your blood sugars or you constantly have issues controlling your appetite, eating a little more steadily can help you manage those throughout the day. Let's see. Breakfast. It's the most important meal of the day, but I don't like eating breakfast. Who here actually eats breakfast? Oh, a lot of hands, good. So if you think about the word, and I actually put a little hyphen in there, you're breaking fast. Okay, so it's the first meal of the day, and you're breaking a fast from the last time you ate the day before, the entire time you slept, and hopefully you're getting a solid 8 hours, to the time you finally get that breakfast in front of you, which can be anywhere from 10 to 12 hours, maybe even more if you're not really eating breakfast right when you get up. It's a lot of time to be fasting. So breakfast is important because you're starting that day, you're starting your body, your engine, with its first meal. Okay? Kind of getting it going. A lot of benefits that have been found, they are up there, so it does also improve weight loss maintenance, appetite control, especially later in the day. And one study has found that eating more of your calories in a smaller window, so having your breakfast and then eating more of your calories in the earlier part of the day can actually burn more fat, improve hunger levels, and improve risk factors for heart disease and diabetes. So what that would look like is that window of time being from morning to mid-afternoon. I do want to mention that breakfast does not need to include traditional breakfast foods. So I often hear, I don't eat breakfast because I just get bored of breakfast foods. I don't like breakfast foods. But why can't you have a salad in the morning? Or taco, or leftovers from the day before? It's just a meal, it just happens to be the first one. It doesn't have to be your traditional cereal with milk, oatmeal, eggs, right? It could be whatever you make it. Thinking about, that healthy plate in all those food groups, right? Talking about the study brings us to intermittent fasting. Has anybody here heard of intermittent fasting? Let's see if you hands. Yeah, so it's an eating pattern that's gotten a lot of press over the past few years. And it's shown really good positive results for some people. Again, individual based on what works for you. But what's different about it is that unlike, I think it's the word diet, but unlike a traditional diet where you kind of limit what you're eating every day, intermittent fasting allows you to alternate restricted eating with unrestricted eating. So you would have, let's say today, I watch what I eat and try to eat maybe 50% of what I normally eat. Then the next day, I can eat whatever I want. Doesn't matter what I eat. And then you just keep alternating. So that's what that looks like. And I'm guessing it works so well because sometimes when we're trying to watch what we eat, it becomes really overbearing, right? It's all you think about. You're constantly thinking about what you're not supposed to be eating. So mentally it becomes more challenging than anything. But having those periods of unrestricted eating really makes it a lot mentally easier. So it's something to think about. There are books out there if you are interested in the topic. One professor who I see, Professor Veriden, has done a lot of work on that, and it's come out with a nice book on it as well. Some information. So I've given you a lot of information on different timing ideas. The big answer really, again, is finding what works for you. So if you happen to eat a certain way and you struggled with eating better, then maybe try a different eating pattern, because maybe that one will work better for you. You have to take it into consideration, obviously, your time availability, as well as your preferences. Those are real, need to be considered. These are just some options you can try. talk about how much. Time. So this is probably the most important factor that we need to consider. Has anyone heard of portion distortion? So here's a visual. So our plates have gotten bigger, or our servings have gotten bigger, portions I should say. Our stomachs have gotten bigger, right? So, 20 years ago is where you would go out, maybe order a burger, and you see that one. Now, who orders that one? That's on the kids' menu. And you can just see across the board how that has changed, right? And you probably often hear when you eat out, you're getting enough food for two. It's real, it's true. Box half of it to go, that one half is probably enough for that one meal, right? We do have a number of tools that we can use to help manage our portions. So a few tools I find that are easy to use are, again, the healthy eating plates, and also a couple ideas of measuring. We'll do a little bit take it here in a bit. But now that we're experts on the healthy eating plate, let's go back. Can anyone tell me why it is useful to help us manage our portions?
You can actually get a dish that has the portions in it, but I want to.
Yeah, it kind of keeps the amounts you're going to be eating to a certain area of that plate, right? So it's a really good guide for that. The trick is to use an appropriate size plate. So we recommend 8.5 inches in diameter or less. The smaller your plate, you're going to eat less. The less you are going to eat. The bigger your plate, we grow into our spaces, right? So trying to minimize that will help you kind of just manage those portions. Good rule of thumb also to make sure we're getting all the right food groups throughout the day. I usually say minimum of 3 food groups at meals. If you're snacking, at least 2 food groups at snacks. If you switch it up every time you eat, by the end of the day, you'll hit all those recommendations that are on that other page. So measuring out portions. We can do this really quick. So does anybody want to help volunteer? Any volunteers? Yeah. So one way to measure things out is to, come on up, measure things out. So it might seem restrictive to sit there and measure out your foods. But if you are concerned about portions or want to just become a little better with your portions, I recommend doing it for a couple days. And that way you have a visual going forward of what that looks like. And you can use that moving forward. Right? So I was going to do a scenario, but I think we're going to stick to maybe one example. So I have fresh grapes here. And I also have raisins or dried counterpart. So what we're going to do is measure out what 1 cup equivalent looks like, and then we'll measure out what a day's worth might look like based on daily recommendations for an average day. So a 1 cup equivalent of fresh fruit is going to be 1 cup, right? For dried fruit, it's going to be half, so half a cup. So if you want to measure out fresh stuff, I would do the dry stuff. And I'll just compare. So obviously the bowls are a little different. So 1 cup half a cup of raisins, right? So that would be a serving. That actually doesn't look like a lot. I've packed it a little too much. And the grapes. It's going to be a little bit more, just some volume. And then for a full day, if we're trying to hit 2 cups, we'll need an extra cup of that. Cool. So you can just see how that's a little different, right? The dried stuff, we have a little bit less. And I'll leave these up here if you just want to take a gander afterwards. The fresh stuff is going to be a little bit more. Right? We will do vegetables real quick. So you mentioned leafy greens. You need a little bit more compared to something like celery, right? So a 1 cup equivalent of spinach would be actually 2 cups. Right? Yeah, I don't want to pack that in. If you were to cook it down, it would be the same as a regular vegetable. So it would be a 1 cup. Okay, so this is probably not a visual, but you can see what 1 serving of a vegetable, a non-leafy vegetable, is compared to a serving of leafy vegetables, right? So it's a little bit more. And if we were trying to get a full day's worth of leafy greens, that would be, we're trying to hit 3 cup equivalents, so it'd be 6 cups. So this time's essentially 3, which would be a lot more. Yeah.
So there are cups that's uncooked, right? And they're cooked. Because even if you cook them, it's small.
Yeah, so not all veggies shrink that much, right? So this will definitely shrink.
Yeah.
And then that would go back down to a standard 1-to-1 ratio. But when it's fresh, you would use the 1-to-2 ratio. And that's exactly the point.
So you say this would be uncooked.
Yeah, so fresh raw. Yeah. Okay. But you can see, so now I have an idea of how much celery would be 1 serving. So, if I put that on my plate, I can see how much that is, so moving forward. I don't need to measure it, because I know what that looks like, right? And it's not a perfect science. I mean, especially with fruits and vegetables, you get a little bit of wiggle room. More is better anyway. Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So in terms of exposing certain vegetables, like in this case, for example, leafy greens to heat, will it, because I have read some articles stating that, if you expose certain leafy greens to to heat, you kill some of the good things or you expose some of the good things. So I don't know, what is the difference with
Well,
exposing?
that's a really good question, actually. So there are some vitamins and minerals compounds that are really sensitive to heat. Some are more sensitive to water. So those, if you take something like broccoli, which has a lot of vitamin C in it, and you cook it to death, a lot of that vitamin C, which is water soluble, it's going to leach out. It's going to get killed, right? Especially if you're doing something boiling it. So trying to find, and actually they found the microwave to retain almost the most nutrients, which shocks me. Shocks me. Because it's just cooking from the inside, it's not really using water.
Right, or leaking anything.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're leaking, what if you just drink the water at the moment?
Yeah, and then you're going to use that water to maybe, make your rice or add it to the soup. Don't waste that water.
Yeah.
So you're still getting the
You're still getting the nutrients, yeah.
You drink your water.
But some vitamins do change a lot in heat, so you do lose some. But some vitamins and minerals thrive when they're cooked, right? So a lot of the fat-soluble ones actually become more potent. You might have heard processed tomato, the antioxidant there actually becomes more powerful when it's processed and treated versus a raw tomato. So, it's going to vary for a lot of different nutrients.
So just keeping a variety in that sense as well, right? Like some cooked sometimes and some raw sometimes
Yes.
kind of thing?
Yes, exactly. Variety is the key word of the day. So when you're choosing your fruits and vegetables, use a variety. When you're preparing them, use a variety. And that way you make sure you're losing out on anything. And this this chart goes through all the different food groups and shows you what those equivalents are. For the sake of time, I'll go through all of them. If you have any questions, please let me know. The last tool we have is called the Cocoa Animals. And I really like this one because I'm trying to watch my portions. I'm not walking around with measuring cups, right? But I always usually have my hands free most of the time, right? So everyone make this. Cool. So this is a really good guide for those fresh, raw vegetables and fruits. Okay? If you think about what a normal apple should look like, it's probably right around there. Right? Apples, big ones. You get a really small one, you can probably eat 2 of them. But this is a really good guide for that. Take your hands, let's make 2 cups. These leafy greens we just talked about, I was to scoop that up with my hands, that'd be a good serving, right? Right there. You can also use this kind of as a guide, that's what this says, for the snack foods like chips and crackers. You take one hand away, you get 1 cup tan. And this is a really good guide for grains, your pasta, your rice, foods of that nature, starchy vegetables. Kind of scoop it up and picture that. And if you look at the palm of your hand, think about your protein. So especially for meat eaters, that would be a good sized chicken breast or piece of steak right there, for a particular event, right? And if you think about that, so let's scoop up my spinach, put it on a plate, scoop of rice, put that in the corner, pop my chicken breast in the corner, what do we have?
Not a big enough meal.
We have a healthy eating plate.
Well, when you go to a restaurant and you put that out, it's scary.
Yeah. You can see how the hands work really well. It's just sort of as a general guide for when you are eating. So if you're eating out and all of a sudden your burger's 3 handfuls, it might be a little bigger than you need right now. Or not, depending on how hungry you are. All right, so quickly, so what is in your food? Ooh, so in an ideal world, we have all the fresh food we need, we have time to cook it, all things align perfectly. We have fresh cooked meals for fresh foods all day long. But that's probably not the case because life's busy, right? So we do need to rely on some processed foods. And this is okay. We just need to better understand what's in these products so that we can make the best choices for ourselves, right? The 2 best tools that are literally given to us from companies are the nutrition label and the ingredients list. So raise your hand if you regularly check the nutrition label. Awesome. I see a lot of hands. Good, good. First, I'd like to mention that the label is being updated from what it is now to this new one here. Some companies and some products you might have noticed a little switch already. I think 2020 is the year, but by 2020, in a few years, everyone should be using this label by law. What do we notice that's different? Yeah, just get right to the good stuff. So she said added sugars have been added. So it used to be, they told us what carbohydrates, how much of that's in there, how much fiber is in there, and how much sugars are in there. But now, with all the research that we found how bad added sugars are to our health, added sugars are teased out from total sugars so that we know how much of added sugars are in the product. Not everyone's doing this yet, so that's when the ingredient list becomes important, and I'll go over sugars in particular on the next slide. Anything else that's different?
Calories are like,
Yeah, calories are much bigger.
Serving size.
Serving size.
The macronutrients portion has changed as well.
Yeah.
Vitamin D, iron,
Yeah.
potassium.
So back when we came up with this is the profile of nutrients we were worried about. But now we have very little deficiency in vitamin A and vitamin C. So what we're thinking about now is vitamin D, which we may know is very important, especially if you have vitamin D deficiency, especially if you live in cold weather climate. Potassium, because it's such an important counterpart to sodium. Calcium still on there, iron still on there. These are also still very important. They also added the amounts. So we don't just get a random percentage. What does that mean? We actually see how much of it's actually in there. So let's walk through quickly how to just kind of navigate a nutrition label for those that are not so familiar. First, you want to check that serving size. All the values on here are for one serving size. So let's just say I was really hungry and I ate this entire container. To know what I just ate, it would be 8 times all of these numbers. Oh, I should mention that when they update the label, they're supposed to update the serving size to reflect what consumers are actually eating. So right now you kind of fudge this, and you look at a serving size sometimes on a product, like, that's not a serving size. I would eat 3 of those. This should reflect closer to what we're actually consuming. So think about that portion distortion. It'll be a little truer to what we're doing. Let's see. So next, these numbers here, the percent daily value. We can use that. So that's the percent of nutrients I'm having trouble wording this, in a food product, and how much of that nutrient this product needs out of 100%. Based on, it says it down here, based on a 2,000 calorie diet, which is kind of like the standard number they use. A little different, but they use that for most information purposes. So if you think about the 5-20 rule, 20 being high, 5 being low. Aim high for nutrients like fiber, vitamin D, calcium, iron, potassium. You want to aim low for things that are a little less healthy, like saturated fat, cholesterol, and sodium. Okay? So let's just use added sugars here as an example. The percent daily value of this food, of added sugars, is 20%. And now that we know the 5-20 rule, we know it's high. We're watching our sodium. This food product is 7%. Not bad. Pretty close to that 5%, that low we're aiming for. So you can kind of see how that rule applies. Use that sort of as a guide, navigating what we're looking at when it comes to trans fats. Those are really bad for you. I don't know how else to put it. So artificial trans fats, and that's the problem. Most trans fats that are in the food system are artificial and processed in a factory to make foods more shelf stable. And now we're finding it's just been terrible for our health. So a while back they made it law to include it on the food label. You might have heard of certain restaurants actually banning it from their food supply. But we want to always check and look for 0. Check the ingredients, which I'll get to in a minute, because this is one of our sneaky foods, or sneaky nutrients. And then added sugars again. It's been added. They've made a recommended amount. Men, you want to stay under 38 grams of added sugars. That's about 9 teaspoons. So, I know some coffee drinkers that are like, I put 4 teaspoons in my coffee. I'm like, no, maybe think that, right? For women, just because we tend to be a little smaller, we get a little less allowance. It's 25 grams, close to 6 teaspoons. Any questions on the label? Yeah?
Okay, so that 20% is 10 grams, not including the 2 grams of the total sugar. Or is that 20 to the 12 grams?
Oh, you're talking about includes 10 grams added sugar? So it's 10 out of 12 total sugars.
So it's more than 20% of the sugar.
Of sugar. There's no recommended daily value for sugar. We just have a recommendation for added sugar.
Does that include like the natural sugar that we have like in fruit?
That would be the remainder.
That would be the 2 grams.
2 grams. So it might have some fruit juice in it or some other type of fruit or dairy product. Yeah, very good point. So natural sugars come from fruit and dairy. Pretty much it, right? Yeah. Everything else is a sweetener. It's an added sugar.
Wouldn't there be sugar in, like, if there was rice in a product? Because that, like white rice, it turns to sugar.
Yes.
Pasta or.
But it's not, it doesn't start out as a sugar. So when we think about it in terms of diet information, motion, all foods eventually get turned into some sort of energy source, which is glucose. When we talk about food sources, those are categorized more like starches, fiber versus sugar. So those are your three types of carbohydrate. Yeah.
But if your product contains less than 0.5% of trans fat,
Yeah.
they don't have to show you, but maybe I'm going ahead again.
You are. You're so good. She's my segue. That's why reading ingredients is so important, because of all those tricky, sneaky things. So read the food label, but always check the ingredients list. This is the best place to look at what is actually in a processed or packaged food. If I'm buying a bag of frozen broccoli, when I turn that over and I read the ingredient list, I don't want to see anything other than broccoli. Right? Same goes for most foods. So it's a good place to just double check for things, especially hidden sugar, trans fats, and sodium to some extent. So sugar, super sneaky. It is often not listed as sugar. I wanted to use this as an example. So we were to take this no-name granola bar. My friend was like, just black it out. So ingredients on the ingredient list are listed in order of quantity. So the first ingredient is going to be in the largest quantity, and then descending order. Who can read the first ingredient on this granola bar?
Whole grain, whole oats.
Great! That's exactly what I want to see in my granola bar. So that's good. I got whole grain, whole oats. Awesome. All right, but let's keep going. What's the next one? Sugar. Yeah, and then it goes on. And we'll come back to that in a second. I generally like to say, as a rule of thumb, if sugar makes it to the top 3, you probably have a food that's high in sugar. So depending on what you're watching, you just want to keep an eye out for that, right? So if you were to look at the ingredients, sugar was 1 or 2 or 3. If you looked at the nutrition label, the sugar number will probably be on the higher side. Okay. Sugar is not always listed as sugar, though. These are just some common sweeteners that we use. Okay? So those agave nectar, high fructose corn syrup, rice syrup, dextrose, cane juice, sorbitol, sucrose. The list goes on. With that in mind, going back to this guy, so we have sugar as the second. Can anyone scroll through and find maybe any other hidden sugars in there?
Non-sugar syrup.
Yeah. So we've got sugar, and then we have high fructose corn syrup, got brown sugar syrup, and then the crisp rice has some sugar in it too. So all of a sudden we've got 3 to 4 sources of added sugar. If we look at that, no fruit, no dairy, so we can probably assume those 11 grams of sugar are added sugars. Okay. So until products put that on their label and tell us how many added sugars are, that's one way that you can just sort of do the investigation yourself. Trans fats. So trans fats are super sneaky. If a product has less than half a gram per serving, it can be listed as 0 grams. Okay? So I got a pumpkin pie. It's got 24 grams of trans fat per serving. So legally, the company, and they can also adjust what the servings are to make it 0 grams, right? So they can say this is 10 servings, not 6, like it might be. To put 0 on the label. So we can say trans fat free. So when I eat that pumpkin pie, I'm going to make myself a nice big slice because I really like pumpkin pie. So I have a slice that's maybe closer to 3 servings. All of a sudden, I've had almost 1.5 grams of trans fats. Okay? There's no recommended amount for trans fats. Any amount is not recommended. We have an allowance, which means try to keep it to under 2 grams a day. That pie just sent me back 1.5 grams. See how that works? So foods that list themselves as trans fat free can definitely have trans fat in them. How do we find that out? By looking for partially hydrogenated oils or hydrogenated oils. That'll be in your ingredients list. Who's eaten Jif or Skippy peanut butter? The stuff that you have, not the stuff you stir, but the stuff that's the Yeah, I'm sure we all have. They started switching to straight hydrogenated oil, but it used to be made with partially hydrogenated oil. If you look at a generic thing of peanut butter, it probably still has partially hydrogenated oil in it. Okay. How much? It says 0, but how much really is it?
So the hydrogenated oil, is that even the partially hydrogenated oil?
Not necessarily if you're still unsure. That's the tricky thing. So when it's partially hydrogenated, the body doesn't know what to do with it. When it's hydrogenated, it just acts like a saturated fat, so it's not necessarily healthy, but it doesn't do as much damage as a partially hydrogenated oil. Sodium can be hidden as well. So looking for things like MSG, nitrites, and nitrates. Most importantly, the fewer things on your ingredient list, and if you can pronounce most of them, you're probably on the safer side. But just using that as a guide to making better choices for your packaged goods. Okay. So we are at 7 o'clock, which means I'm going to run through mindfulness, which isn't very mindful. So mindfulness, raise your hand if you've heard of it before. Awesome, yeah. So it can be used in all aspects of life. Some of us might be very mindful, do things like meditation every day. But also that's paired with lives that are much busier, don't have time to always stop. So one of those things. The mindful eating allows us to be just more aware of what we choose to eat, how satisfied we are eating it, how much of it we actually need, all those things. So take a minute and think about the last meal you ate today. See if you can describe it to yourself. What was it? Do you remember? What did it taste like? What was the texture? How did it feel? Was it what you really wanted to eat? So if you can kind of really describe it clearly, you were probably eating a little more mindfully. If you were in a rush and scarfed that thing down and you can't remember what it was, you're probably eating a little more mindlessly. So basics of mindful eating. So really it's about checking in with yourself, assessing what you're eating, slowing yourself down. There are some tips and tricks you can do. Like in the middle of a meal, when you're eating, I often find myself finding a pause, like a natural pause. I'll be eating and all of a sudden I'll just kind of stop and take a breath. Maybe you can put my fork down, talk to someone if they're sitting next to me. That's a natural pause, and that is a perfect opportunity to investigate where you are in terms of your satisfaction. Right? We all have it. And you might find, I'm satisfied, I'm done. I don't need the rest of this on this list. Right? Chewing your food thoroughly, savor your food. It's not worth savoring, why eat it, right? So these are all just the basics of mindful eating. Other tips are like after each bite, you can set down your spoon or fork. Just take a breath, take a pause. What's most important is that you slow yourself down enough that you can just check in with yourself. Okay? And that gives us an opportunity to see where we are. I call this the hunger satisfaction scale. 1 being, I am so hungry, I'm sorry if I get your voice. 10 being stuffed, I'm not moving for at least 5 hours. Okay? 5 is neutral, you're not really hungry, you're pretty comfortable. And then it ranges back between those two. So, ideally, you want to eat at or before that point. Anytime after that, you wait till about here, you will probably end up there. Who's been there? Yeah, it happens, right? But if you eat and try to stay here in this ideal range, you'll probably stop when you're satisfied or comfortable. Because you didn't wait till you were starving to eat. So we talked a lot about things like timing and portions and tools to do that, but really if you just check in with yourself, eat when you're kind of hungry, and stop when you're pretty satisfied, your body will tell you when you need to eat. Your body will tell you when you're done eating. Sounds simple. We'll do a quick practice activity, then I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Gino. This should just take a few minutes. So it's a chocolate activity. Now, pass the bag around. So everyone will take one Hershey Kiss. If you are Not interested in participating, it's totally fine. This guy has more chocolates. Everyone was particular about wanting it.
Say, are you gonna say a little chocolate is healthy for you?
Little chocolate is all I for you. Deprivation is the worst. Never deprive yourself.
On that, if I'm on from my can't avoid chocolate now because there's a
Well, if you can eat it in moderation.
Dark is better.
Dark is better, it's got less milk and sugar, or the cacao, which is a very healthy plant. Okay, so I'm going to just read through a little script, and I want you to do this with an open mind. And don't do anything with the food until the instructions have been given. Okay? So first, make sure you're just sitting comfortably. Allow yourself to relax. Get your attention and your senses kind of now to the present. So gently holding the Hershey Kiss in your hand, or we're going to call it the food. Pretend you've never seen this before. You're experiencing it for the very, very, very first time. And just use your sense of sight. Notice its colors, texture, the way the light hits the wrapper. Is that a wrapper? Or is that edible? What is this thing? Take note of any responses you're having to this food. Now, unwrap it. Listen to the sounds it's making, and take notice of any responses you're having as you open it. Okay. Close your eyes and just explore this piece of food with your sense of touch. How does it feel? Is it smooth, rough? What's the texture like? Is it wet, dry? Again, take note of any responses you're having. Now, bring it up to your nose and use your sense of smell. Notice when the scent first connects with your senses. Take notice of any other smell you haven't noticed before. Does it smell new to you? Now bring the food to your mouth, but don't put it in your mouth yet. Notice how you know exactly where to put it. See what responses you're having. All your senses now kind of coming together. And now put it in your mouth and just leave it on your tongue. Don't chew. Let it melt and notice the flavors and how the texture changes. Move it around. Notice if these sensations change as it hits different parts of your tongue. Now, begin chewing very slowly. Slower than you've ever chewed before. Take note of any feelings, responses you're having. And as you chew, notice when you feel prepared to swallow. And then when you do swallow, see how far you can feel the food as it goes down into your system. And as you finish, just take note of how you feel. Did you enjoy it? Dislike it? Does it bring up memories? All those kinds of things. Did this change? Or is this different than any other chocolate eating experience you've had? No? Do you think?
Usually will pound my chocolate.
So, it's just, I'm gonna have to go through the questions because we're almost short on time. But it's just one way to slow down what we're doing. So especially with things like treats, why not slow down and really savor every experience and think about how you're responding. Mindful eating obviously doesn't have to be that slow all the time, but giving yourself a little time to check in really lets you think about what your body actually needs to feed itself. Thank you. I hope you found some of this helpful.
My name is Regina Dillard. I'm a living food chef, And I try to refrain from using the term vegan, vegetarian, or raw vegan because, you know, sometimes you just never know where you're gonna land, and sometimes just calling you a vegan, a vegetarian, a raw vegan, sometimes puts you in a box, and it doesn't allow you to explore the other categories. So I just refer to myself as a living food chef. Living food, well, that is simply a focus on vegetables, leafy greens, fruits, nuts, seeds, sprouted grains and beans. And so that's what I primarily use in my recipes. But tonight I'm going to actually prepare this for you, and it's actually already prepped. I have, yeah, I actually have, yeah. So. Yep, thank you. Yep. And this won't take long at all. I've already prepped the black bean spread so we can move along really quickly. So I'm just going to take my collards out. Who likes collards? Anyone besides me? I love collards. I tell you, that is a staple in my house. One of the reasons why I like it because it has so much nutrients in it, a lot of vitamin K. It's great for people who, especially if you're doing a cleanse or a detox this time of year, it's a great blood purifier. And it's just really, it has that dark leafy texture. The leaves are thick. And let me put this over here. And it's just great. It's great in soups, it's great raw, but tonight we're making a raw recipe. So all my leaves are already washed and prepped. Now I'm going to use just one side of this side of the leaf. And I usually use a really big leaf because I want to make sure I get a nice burrito out of this. So what I normally would do, if it's easier, sometimes I'll just put the spread on this side of the leaf and roll it against or I should say with the center spine. But if you find it easier, you can always roll it this way. But when it's a raw leaf, the center stem tends to break and crack. So sometimes it's just easier to just roll it this way. So I'm gonna do one way and one the other way. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of the spread and put it on one side. I'm using the center stem as kind of a guide. So I'm gonna put about 2 tablespoonfuls. That's really all you need. And then I'm gonna top it with all kinds of vegetables. And again, the recipe is in your packet, but feel free to explore. You can do cut zucchini, you can do carrots, tomatoes, lettuce, onions, whatever your heart's desire. This particular one, I have lettuce, I have tomatoes, I have red bell peppers, shredded carrots, what else? I have avocado, and then I also have something which actually really gives it a lot of flavor, and that is marinated onions and marinated mushrooms. Now I like to marinate them in namashoyu soy sauce. That's a Japanese soy sauce which I like to use because it's considered a raw soy sauce, so it's not pasteurized or processed like some of the other traditional soy sauce. So if you want to stay like within the guidelines of like the raw vegan, that's a great soy sauce to use. And when you marinate your onions and your mushroom, it just gives it a very distinct but great flavor. You get in your salt as well. So I'm going to add that to the burrito as well. So I'm going to make several. I have enough, seems like for everybody tonight. So you're going to at least get a half or a quarter one tonight. Actually, I have a book that I wrote called Feed, Living Food Recipes to be Made and Eaten with Love. That's the full title. But I wrote it because I work with a lot of nutritionists just like Jannette who understand the food component, the science of food, who may not be cooks or chefs, you know, and so that's why it's a great relationship, because I can teach people how to feed themselves once they've gone through the programs, once they've gone through all the detoxes. And that's a kind of ugly one. Okay, all right, so you know how to, so you won't be eating the same things over and over. Like, what am I gonna eat today? What am I gonna feed myself today? So there's a title, Feed. So yeah, but these recipes are also in the book as well. You know, alkaline foods, like we were talking about Candida diet for people who are trying to, you know, rid their bodies of maybe parasites or Candida or yeast. You have alkaline recipes as well as raw, vegan, or vegetarian recipes as well.